Hey guys, welcome back to another one. So I'm going to start doing something a little different. I'm going to start trying to post either weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the time that I have between work, family, my kids have started in sports. I've been doing a lot of fishing. Since last Father's Day, my wife got me a live scope for my boat, and I've just been pumped to get out and do a bunch of crappie fishing. So with that being said, I started making my own soft plastics and tying my own jigs. So I figured, since I've gotten a little bit better at it, by no means am I a pro, I would start sharing some videos of the jigs that I like to make and some of the jigs that I use. I also use other people's stuff. I still use Bobby Garland. I use Snackies, which is another company out there that make a phenomenal product. You can catch hundreds of fish on one soft plastic if you use it right. So with that being said, let's get started. The first one that I like to make is all chartreuse. The deer hide, the chenille, the thread, the flashing, the jig head, all that stuff is chartreuse. I call it the Grinch just because, I don't know, everything on it's green. I thought it was a pretty cool name. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how I make it. If there's any questions, leave a comment in the comment section down below, but it's a really simple jig to make. It's just a lot of tie-in. So without further ado, let's get started, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, make sure you give me that big thumbs up. So with these jigs, what I like to do first is just lay down a good thread base on them. So I'll start all the way back at the hook, and I'll work myself all the way forward, all the way back, and then all the way back forward, just to get a good thread base on there for everything to hold on to. Then I'll snip this tag in just like that. And then this is actually a 1/8 jig head. So I'm going to cut off some of this deer fur, or yeah, deer fur. I just take a pretty good little pinch. The reason I do that is because inevitably you're gonna lose some of it. It's not all gonna stay on there. So I take it, get a pretty good little pinch of it, and then I'll start it about halfway down, so a little bit hangs off the back of the hook. You'll see it here in a second. And then I take a slow loop over it, just so I capture as much of the fur as possible. And then I work all the way back once again to about the hook section. If you get some flyers kind of like that one is, don't worry about that. You can go back and snip that off. And then I work myself all the way back to the front. If you don't want quite the flare that this one has on the back side here, you can always tie that looser on your way back and then tighten it as you come forward to hold that fur in. So then I'll just take my scissors and kind of just clean it up a little bit. Make sure you don't cut your thread though. Okay, now that that's on, I will take my 2 pieces of flashing. I only use 2. Then I will take it and I'll put it straight up the jig head. Just like that. And you can on this, it's long enough, unless you cut it, that you can actually start it all the way up the head and slowly do a loop over. I just do that to hold it in place, and then I can move it to where I absolutely need it, and then I do a couple more just to seal it in. And then what I'll do is I'll take it and fold it back. And then I'll just thread it in there, just like so. Make sure you get that fur held back too, because it'll like to sneak up on you. Take it to the same place, then come back forward. Let that hang there. Then, I forgot to get it out, but I also use green round rubber. I'll just snip me off some pieces here. And on this particular jig, I use 4 pieces. So I'll just take 4 pieces off of here, peel them off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull those all the way down. Set that to the side. Peel them apart individually. If you make them long enough, you don't have to line them up perfectly. You're going to trim them at the end anyway. So you're going to have your 4 pieces. Then you're going to want to lay it same thing. Try to keep them together. But you want to lay those all the way through the top of the jig head. It's fine if they flare out, you want them to do that. Then if you leave it a little bit loose like that but have it strong enough to hold in place, you can move these. Then take it all the way down the back. If you don't want it to fan out in the back, just make sure you do loose wraps. And then when you come forward, we'll tighten it up. Okay, so loose wraps, you got it where you want it on the jig. Then I do a tight loop on the way back, and that'll hold it in place. Okay, make sure though you don't pin those down. So what I like to do is, once I get back to the front, I pull those back, do a couple loops in front of it, then let it lay back forward, and then come back behind it again. Okay, a lot of people start their chenille back here. I just go ahead and start it at the front because that's where I'm at. So I'll take this chenille, I'll pull a little bit off the front, so I got some thread or some string to get a hold of, lay it down. Once again, do a nice slow loop, nice slow loose loop. Then I'll lay it flat down the back, run it down, then I'll run it back forward. Then I'll just take my thread and pull it straight out and just set it to the side. Make sure you're still flaring up here in the front. Then I take it and just wrap it around. Make sure they overlap a little bit so that you get full coverage. Like you can kind of see these getting in my way up front here. You can go ahead and take your scissors. What I like to do is you can make your own size, however you want. I mean, if you want them way up here, you can make them way up here. If you want them down here, you can make them down here. It don't matter. I like to make mine down here. Just like that, so they kind of flare up and make a collar. Stay still there, bub. Keep on going around. Now I don't go in front of the collar. I stay right behind it. So you can see these 4 little pieces still sticking up. And once I get there, I just take my chenille, run it down, and I actually have, since I have the actual enclosure for my clamp, then I put it underneath there so it doesn't come unwound. Roll my thread back up, then I go around, around. Make sure you don't get these little flares, the collar underneath, and then I go behind the chenille, behind it, in front of it, in front of it. Always making sure I adjust these collars. Then snip it off. Throw the chenille to the side. Go ahead and wrap it up. Then you just close her off. Once again, make sure you don't get the collar wrapped up in there. I like to close it off by doing some in front and some behind. So if you go in front, you can see it's pulling that collar forward a little bit. Then we'll go behind, behind, and close it off. And then I'll take and do one final by hand, just so I get it lined up underneath where I want it. Pull it tight. Snip it off. Some people like to be fancy. I don't. I just steal my wife's fingernail polish. It works just as good as the cement does. You might have to explain to your buddies why you carry around fingernail polish, but that's for a different day. Alright, then what I like to do is to go to the very end here. Leave your deer the way it is. Then I'll take these and cut them just about the same length as the deer fur, and then I'll come in here and snip off some of these ones that I don't like, and some of the flyers. Okay, and then there you go. That's the Grinch. Real easy. Crappie love it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you guys like this video, make sure you give me the big thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Catch you on the next one.